It looked clear yesterday.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We're gonna do a little bit of just a overall gentle practice today, kind of continuing with the themes of I'm not going to speak about it again today, but just searching for integration. And I think when we take the time in our yoga practice to slow down and really feel what we're doing, there's this beautiful opportunity for us to really dive into the koshas. I know I mentioned the koshas at the end of practice yesterday, but if, to remind you, the koshas are these different layers of our being that, I've heard them described like nesting dolls, but try to think of them less as layers that have like barriers, and more as like what a rainbow looks like in the sky, where you can't really tell where the blue ends and the purple begins, that melding of our being, because truly integration is about merging, not about separation. So when we look for the koshas within ourselves, we're kind of trying to touch into that which it is happening moment to moment. We want present moment awareness within our being. And if you think about the layers, the different koshas, we have the physical body, we have our mental body, we have our emotional body, we have our prana body, which is kind of this energy body that's just filled with life force. And then deepest or most expansive, however you want to visualize, is this state of grace. This, I like to call it the bliss body, the Anandamaya kosha. And remember that, this word really exemplifies love and bliss and the unity of all things. And so when we can kind of merge all these layers together, we have much more access to the truth of our interconnectedness with each other and with the universe itself, really, with all things. Um, and it leads me to Rumi, a quote by Rumi. I don't have it memorized, so I'll do the best I can in the translation. But in Rumi's words, he talks about that your task is not to seek love, but rather to find the barriers that prevent you from knowing that you are love. The barriers within yourself that you've built against being able to just be the love. So to me, that's really the essence of this Anandamaya kosha, or the merging of all of your koshas into union, is removing the barriers that prevent us from knowing our true selves as interconnected beings of love. And that may sound, kind of crazy, but it's true, right? If you talk to anyone who's kind of touched near-death experiences, or touched transcendence on all the levels that one can touch that, this is the truth that emerges, is that we are all love, that we are all connected, that we are one, that we are not separate. So what are the barriers that we all have to feeling this state of our truth? That's the work of kind of moving through the koshas to find that merging. So as you sit up straight and tall, find a comfortable seat to be in. And of course, we have these physical bodies, so let's start there. Let's start with our most tangible, gross. I don't mean gross like ew. I mean gross versus subtle. This part of ourselves that's very touchable and tangible. And maybe put your hands somewhere on your body, anywhere you want. Could be anywhere at all, but place your hands, which are these hugely perceptive places our hands are. Place them somewhere on your body. And just take a moment to feel into your physical form, and recognize that that's a part of what's happening right here, right now, is this physical form that we get to walk around in. So Just have an honoring, a deep respect for our physical bodies. And, as we move deeper into the layers of our koshas, we can start to sense that our bodies are animated by breath, by prana, that our life force, is most easily found within our breath. Of course, there's other forms of prana, our drink and our food and our laughter and our sunshine and all the connections of love that we feel. We sense prana in lots of ways, but our breath is a very intimate one. So let's maybe put your hands somewhere where you can feel your breath now. And see it more than just oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. See if you can sense the animation, the aliveness, the enlivening of the breath. As you feel yourself breathe, try to start slowing the breath down a little bit. All the things that you are constantly practicing with the breath, see if you can kind of live in that healthy pattern now. And you can change your hands anytime you want. Try to feel into this pranamaya kosha, this sense of moving breath, moving energy. And living within that prana is really the gateway to being able to find this sense of merging all of these koshas. If we lose our breath, we get stuck. We really do get isolated and stuck. So feel the breath move well, constantly tending to it. And then move a little deeper into the manomaya kosha, the thinking body. Animate your thoughts with your breath. So see if you can infuse your breathing into your mind. You might have a physical feeling in your head. We often top up, we think in our brains up here. And so we think the thinking happens only in our head, but the thinking happens in your entire body as well. Think of how expansive your nervous system is. So it's not just the thoughts, it's also the perceptions and the reactions. What's here today? What's in that Manamaya kosha? Try to have no judgments or expectations, just noticing what's in your mind. What have you been thinking about? And then let's move into that emotional body now. Vijnamaya kosha, where we have a deeper state of consciousness, that it's not just the thinking, but it's the feeling state too. How are the state of your emotions today? Do you feel steady? Do you feel unsteady? Is there any anxiety? Do you have any connection to that sense of joy or love? And it's always complex. We are not simple beings. So as you notice what your heart, your emotional body is feeling, know that it's probably not one color. Again, breathing into this. Let the breath be the vehicle for feeling your way through the koshas. No judgments, no expectations, just feeling what is in this moment. And then as we move more deeply or more expansively, let's kind of touch into that Anandamaya kosha, that sense of a bliss body. Maybe your orientation to your heart space might change, or your breath might deepen. relax through your brain. And see if you can just touch into that, ground soil of love that is really the medium that we're swimming in, that we often have the barriers against, but if we can remove those barriers, what is there? And if you have trouble accessing a deep state of love, think of someone you love. Think of one of your pets or one of your people, and uh, just take a moment to feel your way into the state of love. And then think of Rumi's words. What are the barriers to the merging of all of these koshas into one? What are the barriers for you to really access the fact that we are connected? And this is the work right there. This is the work. And as you start to feel, hopefully, a love-filled sensation in your being, let's bring our hands together. And first, before an intention, let's just kind of seep some gratitude into it all. Okay, when we notice all of the layers of our being and the miracle that is this moment, let's have some deep gratitude for it. And then offer that intention for yourself, whatever it is that you're coming across, whatever the barriers are that you'd like to dissolve, or whatever the work that you're doing. Set an intention that you can bring all of yourself to this task, all of the layers of your being and your feeling of connection to all. You can bring all of this to the task of whatever your intention is. And then release the hands, and let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as you stretch out and lengthen on the floor, be mindful as you change shapes in your body, the subtle changes that happen in all of your layers. You might feel this physical state more than any other, but see if you can notice how your practice shifts your breath, shifts your mind, shifts your emotions, shifts that sense of whole body connectivity and a sense of being able to perceive your connection outward as well. Okay, arms overhead, and let's reach and lengthen here. So one side a little longer than the other, and try to really access yumminess. Okay, so we want to feel good. We want to experience that sensation of bliss. And then bring our knees into the chest, and let's go ahead and rock back and forth, left and right for a moment. Just feel that sense of sloshing from one side to the other. Do you have a moment of noticing the midline when you cross it to the other side? Relax your head. All right, and then hang on to the knees, and let's circle, kind of rolling in one direction a few times. Rolling in another direction a few times. And then opening up your knees away from the middle and bringing them back in. Just feeling your way into some of the movement of your hips. Can you celebrate anything that you have right now? Any good feeling in the body, any mobility that you have, can you celebrate? Okay. All right, let's take our right knee into our chest, left leg long on the ground. And even though you might have done this a million times, can you not take for granted the subtlety of being able to wiggle your toes and move around in your ankles? Can you appreciate every bit of movement that you have? Can you let your head rest here? Feel a sense of softness. And we're going to take that right knee, cross it over to the left side, and stretch open through your chest. A big breath here. And coming back to center. Keep that right knee in. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, compress your head up against the knee and give yourself a one-legged squeeze. Relax your head down, switch sides. Left knee in, right leg long, and go ahead and wiggle your toes and move around in your feet. Relax your head. Breathing deeply. Remembering to savor every bit of sensation you have. And let's drop the knee over. So left knee comes over to right. Stretch open through the left side of your chest. Feel free to move around in your shoulder or your arm if you'd like. Full breaths here. And then come back. Stretch open through your limbs, reaching your legs, arms and legs wide. Roll around in your ankles, wiggle through your toes. Feel the edges of your body. And then draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice little hug. Again, stretching wide and big. And then exhale, drawing in small and snug. As you go again, remember that navel radiation where we're connecting the core out to the distal and the distal back home into the core. All right, put your head down, arms out to the sides, and let's rock our knees, windshield wipering left and right, and just allowing some nice movement of our hips and spine. Turn your head, if you'd like, in the opposition of your knees so you start to feel that full twisting from crown to tail. All right, and then feet on the ground and rest here for a moment. So just take a moment to find your way into awareness. So even if you're itching for some big movements, we'll get there. First, just feel yourself breathing, resting and breathing, giving yourself a chance to notice yielding of your body on the ground, to notice breathing. If you're working to remedy your breath patterns and you're doing some good work these days around finding that healthy restoration of breath, take as much time in this position as you want to find that. That's ultimately the most important thing, is to restore healthy breathing. So if you get lost anywhere, if your breath gets lost or your connectivity gets lost, just return to the breath over and over. You can stop doing anything you're doing at any moment of the day and just return to the breath. All right, let's expand, open again, reaching wide. Exhale, knees drawing in, roll to your side and come up to your hands and your knees. Find your way to all fours and let's enjoy some cat-cows. So we're arching and we're rounding and we're taking our spine for a ride on the breath. So we feel that ripple through our vertebrae. Make sure you're breathing as you go. Can you feel every single vertebrae have some mobility? Kind of articulating one to the next. Notice if there's any part of your spine that has trouble kind of finding individual articulation. If you tend to swoop in one movement, a few vertebrae, see what you can do to find each one. And then after some cat-cows, feel free to move around any way your body wants to move around. You could do some pelvic circling, you could do some tail wagging, you can do some rib cage movements, head movements. So whatever you're finding, just explore what your spine wants. And remember the breath. Again, such a simple thing, but such a really profound thing to just squirm around in your spine. All right, let's drop back towards child's pose and stretch the arms out in front of you and feel that ground beneath you. Can you yield? Can you drop into the earth a bit more? Can you feel your breath? All right, let's walk the hands one side or the other and open up our side bodies, preparing for good breathing. We need to have nice open ribs for good breath. So feel those intercostal muscles and your shoulders stretch. Okay, over to the other side. Notice if there's any breath holding, fill and empty. Keep it moving. Come back up onto all fours. Move the spine around again. Any kind of movement you want. So notice how good it is to move your spine around. All right, let's take a deeper twist. Left arm up in the air. Exhale, drop that shoulder down and go as deep or as not deep as you'd like to go. And you can always, change this to be more of a stretch for your shoulder, deepen it to go a little more stretch into your rib cage and spine. So just kind of find what feels good. And make sure when you get to this pose that you're breathing. All right, and then inhale, bring that arm back up in the air. Let's roll our wrists while we're up there in the air. And then place that hand down, switching sides. Arm comes high. Exhale, bring the arm under as deep as you want, as not deep as you want. So just seek the posture that's right for right now. Find your breath. Melt through your head. Try not to hold a lot of tension in your neck. And then inhale, reach that arm back up. Maybe a couple of rolls through your wrists. Maybe your fingers move around a little bit. Hand comes down onto the ground. As we prepare to go up into a dog pose, yield. Give your weight in that preparation and then initiate that response and lift up to a dog pose. Take some time to feel your body. So you could pedal your feet and just kind of sense into how your legs are feeling now. You can take some time to rock your weight into one side of your body and then the other, maybe bearing some weight into your right hand and foot and then switching that weight bearing to the left. Just kind of explore this posture. It's such a big, beautiful pose. So let's enjoy this sense of openness in our body. Grounding through your hands and your feet, yield, and then push and reach and feel your space, feel your breath. Maybe you're feeling that body half connectivity, where you feel the top and the bottom half of your body in balance. Maybe you feel the left and the right hemispheres of your body in balance. Right, and then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana, forward fold. Relax your neck. Breathing here. Melt any bit you need to. Inhale for a halfway lift. Blocks are nice if you have them. Stretching open. Let's pause here in a half lift and let's bend and straighten your knees. So one knee bends, the other hip draws back. Just kind of pedaling like we do in dog pose and letting your hips say hello and give them some time to let their sensation kind of rise up to the surface of your awareness. I like to lift my toes up too, get my calf to stretch open, just kind of find what feels good. All right, and then ground the four corners of your feet and melt again. Fold, let your spine waterfall, relax your neck. Try to not have a break in the neck. Let it bobble, let your head bobble so there's freedom in your cervical spine. And then we'll drop our seat, lift our chest, rising up. Bring the arms to the sky, find that extension, open up through your heart. Okay? Give your heart to the day. So if we're seeking to not just find love, but to discover the barriers that prevent us from feeling it, open up your heart here. Of course, you can feel love anywhere in your body. You know, it's not, the heart is not the only place where love emerges, but we often have that quality of sensation there. So just open that heart space up. Let's cactus through our chest, elbows bent. Maybe your head tips back a little bit, giving that heart open space. And then round in, let the back of your heart open, chin to chest, forearms to touch. Make a fist with fists with your hands, interlace them, and then press those fists forward. So we're broadening our shoulder blades and opening up in the back of our ribs, back of our shoulders. Inhale, rising up, index fingers pointing straight up. Try to get your ears in line with your upper arms. Yield, push, and reach. Feel that extension coming from your feet, not from your shoulders. Breathe deeply as you tip back just a bit. And then relax your arms. Give them a little bit of a shake. Let things loosen up a little bit. Okay, maybe a little wiggle. And then interlace your hands behind your back. Open up your shoulders, the fronts of your shoulders. Elbows can stay bent and draw them back. Lift your chin. And then when you're ready, we'll come forward. And of course, as always, if that's too much for your shoulders, you can use a strap between your hands so that you can open up the front deltoids a little bit more. As your shoulders open up, maybe rock your arms over to one side and then over to the other side. Your knee can bend a little bit. Relax your head. Try not to lift your head up, melt it down. And then feel some stillness. Waterfall your spine down, bobble your head. And then we'll release the arms and grab onto the elbows and let them hang. And as you do this, see if you can sense into that gravitational pull toward the ground. Your ribs can open up. Bend your knees as much as you need. And inhale for a halfway lift, hands unwind from that. Hold the blocks. Exhale. Find the breath again. Come back to a dog pose. So as we feel our way into that reaching posture, yield and push and reach. Give yourself an opportunity to breathe and ground. Let your exhales out long. What are the barriers that you can just let go of on the breath itself? Maybe there's a subtle little barrier to your experience of unity that you can just release on the breath. Come forward into a plank, holding your structure steady, shoulders down away from the ears. Feel those shoulder blades land on the rib cage well and give the ribs a hug. Integrate the core of your body, so lots of strength here. Stretch your heels all the way back. Finding a good breath. Full exhale. And then we'll put our knees down onto the ground, find the earth. Move those shoulders. Maybe you want to do them one at a time. Maybe you want to roll them forward or backward. Maybe you want to spin them at the same time. And let's all roll the shoulders up toward ears, up toward sky, and shoulder blades down. Keep your elbows reaching back toward the wall behind you as you lift to a cobra pose. Remember, we're not holding the breath. We're coming down on the exhale. Again, rising up on the in-breath and coming down on the out-breath. Take your arms out in front of you. Palms are on the ground like the letter V with your arms rising up. Can you hug the front body into the back body? Keep the neck long. Stretch through your feet. And then exhale. And relax. Take your body and roll onto your right side. And we're going to bend our knees. Grab onto the top of your left ankle and stretch your quad. Just starting to open up those quads a little bit. Tail long, pubic bone up so that we're finding that stability through our pelvis as we open up our quadriceps. And See if you can get the sensation all across your quads. Widen the sensation, just kind of find the broadest stretch that you can find. And then bring the knee right into your chest. Tuck your head, round the spine a little bit, and then release that. And we'll roll over to the other side, bending your knees. We're on our left arm. You can always put a block under your head. Reach that right knee up toward your chest. Put your hand on the top of your right ankle, and then stretch your leg back for a quad stretch. Heel is coming close to your buttocks. Try to stack your shoulders, stack your ribs, stabilize your pelvis. Your core is working a little bit. And then once you have your stability, reach into the stretch. Open up those quads as best as you can. Finding the feeling of breathing in your body. All right, and then relax. Knee into your chest, hug in, round the spine a moment, and then we'll come back onto our belly. Come up onto all fours, and let's move around in your spine. Wag your tail, find your way. Bird dog, like we did yesterday, right arm out, left leg behind. Take a deep breath in, lengthen. And as you exhale, hug underneath. Remember that contralateral unity where we're marveling at our nervous system being able to move opposite sides of the body, contralateral movement. Okay. Inhaling to stretch and lengthen, and we're exhaling to draw in. Reaching that out, placing the hand and knee back down, and we'll switch to the other side. Right leg, left arm, thumb up, toes down. Integrate. Deep breath in as you reach. A long exhale as you condense, elbow and knee underneath. Try to wobble less. Move slowly so you can really marvel at what you're doing. Remember to appreciate all this beautiful movement that you're capable of, whatever you're capable of. All right, and then we'll bring that hand and foot down, lift up to a dog pose. Stretching your body, yield, push and reach, opening up your feet, your calves, your hamstrings. All right, let's lift the right leg up in the air and stack it open so we feel that hip and side body open up. Feel your psoas start to broaden a little bit. And then put that foot down onto the ground. Changing sides, left leg up, engage your glutes to lift that leg. And then when you're ready, stack it open and breathe. Try not to collapse through the right. We're lifting under the right armpit. The knee can be bent, left knee can be bent or straight. And then we reach that leg in the air again. Put your foot down onto the ground. Yield. Push and reach. Walk your feet forward, coming into the breath, relaxing your skull. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melting again. Push through your feet, rising up. Trace down through the center. As your hands stay connected at your heart space, can you just notice if you're starting to feel a little more sense of integration in these koshas? The breath is the glue, it's the wave that moves through them all. Inhale, arms up. Take your arms just a little bit wider and just offer your heart upward, outward. turn your corners of your mouth up, smile into the day. And then fold and melt forward, relax your neck. A halfway lift, opening up through your body. Melting your breath down into a forward fold. Step your left foot back, right foot is in front, lunging. Open up through your heart. Let's go ahead and bend and straighten. Moving with your breath. As you bend your knee, feel that hip flexor in the back leg open up. And as you straighten the leg, feel the hamstring. And just finding your breath, move you. Grounding yourself, push off the ground, reaching up, crescent lunge, arms wide, smile, lift your heart to the day. Even if you can't look up, if you need your balance to look straight, that's fine, but lift the heart up. Release the hands down, back foot comes forward, a fold. A full breath in, expanding wide. Exhale, melting again, relax your neck. Step your right foot back, left foot's in front, lunging. Move with your breath to straighten and bend your front knee. Where do you like to inhale? Where do you like to exhale? Are you experiencing that pranic flow? Notice the layers of your kosha. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What is your body feeling? What are your emotions feeling? Is your breath moving? Ground your legs, push off, reaching upward, crescent lunge on this side. A full breath, open your arms a little bit wider so that your heart can be the thing that's lifting more than your shoulders. Big breaths here. Smile. Tip your chin up even an inch. What can you give the day? What are you receiving? Right, hands come back down. Walk your back foot forward. Come to a fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Feel free to put a block between your legs or touch your toes together or any variation to bring you into a chair. And again, maybe your arms want to be wide or back or palms to your heart. There's no rules that the arms have to be overhead. Find your breath. Let's pulse here a few times. Wake up those glutes like you're trying to push off the ground, but you just are, you're holding heavy, heavy weights, so the push off is hard to do. And then up onto your toes, extend upward, wide arms again. And then place your feet down and pause in Tadasana. The feeling of the wave between exertion and movement, and then recuperation and rest. Remember, the open and closed. If we were always open in our hands or always closed in our fists, we wouldn't be able to move. Okay, so it's this movement that really helps us, expanding the breath, condensing the breath, expanding the body, condensing the body, moving the body, resting the body. We're going to stand onto our right foot, pick up your left foot, and find your way into some balance. So open your eyes, gaze softly at something, reach that right arm up if you'd like, tail down, feel that spine-tail connection. See if you can yield your foot into the ground and use that push-off to reach all the way up through your crown. And then as we start to tip forward into dancer, hug that right hip in so that we're stabilizing with our glutes, not just with our legs. We want to have a knee that's soft in its straightness, not locked. Squaring hips, chest, pelvis to the front of your mat. How's your breath? Relax your jaw and your tongue and your eyes. And then slowly push up. Bring your knee all the way in, hug it in, and lift your crown. And then place that foot down onto the ground. And always, you can do this holding walls. There's always ways to support your balance. Enjoy your 2 feet. Let's have gratitude. And then we'll move our weight into our left foot. Pick up your right ankle, and you can use a strap around your foot if you need. Okay. Hug this hip in, this left hip in, so we're not leaning, pushing the pelvis forward or out to the side. We're hugging it in, the thigh bones moving back. If it's comfy, reach your arm up in the air. Find a dristy spot, soft gaze to look at. Start to kick your foot into your hand, tipping forward, square to the front of your mat. Keep your neck soft. Relax something that's tensing that doesn't need to. How's your breathing? Can you animate your body, your mind, your emotions with your breath? And then as you come back up, we'll bring our knee high to our chest, hug that left hip in, reach the heart, and then place that foot down onto the ground. Turn sideways on your mat for some wide legs and just open up into a wide-legged squat, letting your back open up a little bit, your inner thighs open up a little bit. All right, and then turn back to the front of your mat for a dog pose. Feeling that extension in your body, yielding, pushing, reaching, breathing. Come forward into a plank, pushing the ground away, and then lower yourself down. Either take your arms out in front of you, or behind you, or wherever you want them to be. And we'll lift everything up off the ground, feeling that full back line, work for the posture, keep your neck long. Big breaths here. Engage your glutes, your hamstrings, the soles of your feet, your shoulders. And then relax. Put your head on your hands, and let's windshield wiper our knees. Okay, take your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, and then reach up. One more time, lifting up, legs, arms, everything up off the ground. Find your breath. Shoulder blades toward each other and down. The neck is long, the core is engaged. And then relax. Pick up your left knee and bring it up toward your armpit. Move your blocks out of the way, and let's just release our back for a moment with a twist. Stretching open. All right, and then come back to center and go the other way. Right knee up, finding your breath. We'll take the left arm under and then twist open. Breathing deeply here. Melt the back of your head. And coming back to center, up onto all fours. Wiggle around in your spine. And we're going to bring our right foot forward. Come into a lunge with your back knee staying on the ground. Pad underneath it if you need some extra padding. Open up through the hip flexor well. This is a big piece of keeping that front body open and available. It's not just the heart space, but the hips as well. And then we'll climb up hand on knee if you'd like. Reach your left arm up in the air. And then we'll find a twist here. Forearm on your knee, elbow on your knee, hand on your knee, whatever works. We're using the other hand, your right hand, to push on your thigh to help you stay lifted crown to tail. Breathe deeply. Come out of that posture. Back to a child's pose for a moment. You can keep your hands on the blocks if you'd like. Just let that hip flexor soften. And then we'll repeat to the other side. Bring your left foot in front. Right knee stays on the ground, a deep lunge. Feel that hip flexor open up on that right side. Psoas, such an important muscle for our bodies. It really senses, it's a very sensitive muscle. It senses our emotional states, senses our breathing. So let's kind of give good quality breath as a cue to that psoas that all is well. And then we'll climb up and reach that right arm up in the air. And when you feel ready, forearm, hand, or elbow on that left knee. Left hand on your left thigh to push and reach. Okay, yield, push, and reach. How's your breathing? Where can you open? And then come back to center one more time, a child's pose, and just let the hips soften. Take your knees as close or as wide as you would like, and just let your body breathe. Okay. Throw the toes under, last of the dog poses. Feel that reaching in your body. And then we're going to come down onto the ground and come onto our back. Grab a block, maybe even two. We're going to do this twice, once actively, once passively. So an active bridge, and then we'll take a block. But if you're like, nope, I just want to do the passive bridge, then start with a block. If you're following me, ground the four corners of your feet. Inhale and lift up. Climb onto the tops of your shoulders. If you're a hand clasper, you can do that. I'm not. I like pushing my arms down into the ground. Keep your neck neutral. Open up your rib cage. Try to blossom your ribs here. Root into the four corners of your feet. Active with your glutes. Really strong in your legs to support the openness of your breath. And then relax and come down. Perhaps a little windshield wipering if you'd like. And then you get to decide how you move into this pose, what kind of height you want. Remember, we want the block across the sacrum, not in line with the sacrum. So you can have a low block across the sacrum, a middle height of the block, which is a little bit more narrow. Sometimes when I'm doing it that height, I actually put two blocks underneath me long ways. So I had, the break, the space, there's no space, but the, spot where the two blocks meet is kind of aligned with my sacrum. And but just make sure there's two blocks, one for each hemisphere of your sacrum to rest on. Or if you want to go even higher, if your body's like, yeah, I'm open for that today from all this back bending we've done, then you can stack 2 blocks long ways under your sacrum. So your choice in how you go about this, just make sure the broadness of the block is underneath your sacrum and your pelvis. You're not just supporting the sacrum. Big breaths here. Focus on your breathing. Blossom your rib cage. Just let that 3-dimensional space broaden and open with breath. All right, and then we're going to come into a leg up the wall without the wall. So depending on the height of your blocks, you might need to change some things. Just get into a place where your pelvis is supported well, and we can lift our legs straight up in the air. If you want to take your legs wide for a moment, you can. If you'd like to just keep them neutral, you can. Just sense the ease of all the blood and lymph draining back toward the heart. And as you're looking at your feet and your legs, can we just again have some deep gratitude for, these legs of yours carry you through your whole life. Okay. So let's just have such appreciation, even with their, troubles of your any joints or just any troubles you've had. Let's just really appreciate what they offer us. The ground our legs receive the ground probably more than any other part of our body. So let's appreciate. All right, and then bring the knees in toward the chest. If you're on 2 blocks, I would recommend getting lower for this. Make sure you're on a low height of the block for this. Perhaps a happy baby, perhaps just knees to chest. You're feeling that little bit of traction that the block gives you. All right, then release your feet onto the ground, lift your hips, and let's rest our pelvis down. Back where we started, hands on your belly, just receive your breath. All right, and then right foot on left knee, and reverse your pigeon. Feel free to rock a little bit left and right in this posture, kind of getting some ease into your low back. Change sides when you feel ready. And again, perhaps a little rocking, perhaps stillness, whatever you feel like your body needs. All right, so finish your practice. If you need any other posture to kind of complete your, feeling that you're integrated, go ahead and do that. And then as you're ready for Shavasana, I would highly recommend some support. I'm gonna build a little bolster with 2 blocks and a blanket to put underneath my knees. If you have a bolster, I would recommend that. Okay, so whatever kind of props you can find to get your knees a little more supported. And then after doing that, if you're like, no, I just want to be flat, then just ignore me and do flat. Okay. And as your body starts to settle, make sure that there's nothing distracting you. So if you're touching something weird, like a strap, or the edge of your mat feels weird, or anything at all, if anything's distracting you, change it. Okay, so that you can just melt. And as your body begins to rest into the ground, realize that this is such an important pose. Let your shoulders soften. Let your head melt. Bring yourself into your breath and your yielding. When you feel ready, let's go ahead and begin to deepen your breath again. Before you move, just feel that state of deep rest as you surrender your body with gravity. Fill your breath and yield. Empty yourself out. And any movement that supports your transition. Okay, so as you come out of Shavasana, it's such a sacred transition, truly, to kind of move from this deep inner space to feel that connection with your outside world. So move slowly. Take your time to come onto your side. Pause there for a breath. And then eventually come to a comfortable seat. Take your time. And once again, be aware of the integration that our practice offers us, the sense of merging these koshas of our body, our mind, our emotions, our breath, and ultimately this deep feeling of connection that we have. So let's remember this quote of Rumi's where it's really not love that we're seeking, but we need to seek the obstacles that prevent us from just being the love that we are. Okay, so hopefully your practice has helped you to dissolve some of these barriers. And as you bring your hands together, let's feel our open heart and offer this energy. Christine, we're offering our prayers and our love and our open-heartedness to you. And also to everywhere, anywhere, whoever you want to send this love that you've kind of opened yourself to receive yourself. Let it stream. Be the love. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a blessed day.